How you living, Bears fans? It's your boy Adam Rank, and I gotta say, this was an inexcusable loss to the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Adam Rank.
It's Hester trying to work it back to the middle. Gets past the first wave, and here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. And no flag, 92 yards.
Brought to you by Circa Sports Illinois, the sickest Chicago Bears and fantasy football podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
I know there are some positives to talk about. There are some things to be excited about, but I need to start off, and I know I typically don't dwell in the negative, and I always try to find a silver lining, but for me, and perhaps it's the Arsenal draw that's got me in a little bit of a tizzy, I look at what should have been a very easy, not an easy victory, but it's an inexcusable loss. And I'll say that this Indianapolis Colts team is not very good. Like, that's not a good team. The quarterback is not great. It's not a good defense. And quite honestly, you know, there have been teams that have given the Bears the blueprint of how to defeat the Indianapolis Colts, and the Bears just said, like, we're not going to do that. We're going to do our own thing. I know that Matt LaFleur and some of these other coaches have found the secret elixir to defeat the Indianapolis Colts, a team that was without DeForest Buckner, and they're like, we're going to throw all that out of the window. And instead, we're going to have our rookie quarterback throw it 50 times. It's unbelievable to me. Like, how did we get to this point? I knew almost immediately, as, first play of the game. What was it, a 6-yard gain to DeAndre Swift? Yeah, I believe it was. And then when they threw the ball on second down, I said, we're pretty much cooked. Like, Shane Waldron, I was very excited about. And the Seattle fans were like, dude, you guys don't want Shane Waldron. And I think it's similar to Bears fans going up to Raiders fans and saying, like, yeah, you guys don't want Luke Getsy. And I was trying to keep an open mind. I don't know. I don't know what I just want to see. I don't understand how all these other teams in the league go out there and hire, like, former Rams, like Mike Shanahan assistants, although the Titans aren't exactly blowing up the world as it is right now. So maybe it's not about that. But at the same time, this staff has got a lot of question marks. And I was willing to give Matt Eberflus the benefit of the doubt. And I was sitting there even preaching the fact that, you know what? Once you decided to retain Matt Eberflus, and I was willing to go in on Jim Harbaugh, that was something that I was all in favor of. But once they made the decision to keep Matt Eberflus, I was like, well, this is going to be a 2 or 3 year thing, because you don't want to get into a point where you're constantly revolving around offensive coordinators. But at the same time, you don't want a staff to get too far ingrained to where you can never redeem the quarterback, and then you've started him on a path that you're not going to be able to recover from. Now, a lot of this might be, reactionary, to the point of, Caleb Williams went out there and threw for over 300 passing yards. Rome Odunze had over 100 receiving yards. DJ Moore actually had a nice game, like he did too. Cole Kmet kind of emerged as well as his passing options, which was what will happen when you throw the ball 500 times. But here's my thing, is like, everything that I want to sit here and focus in on from a positivity standpoint, where we're talking about the defense, where we're talking about, like, Caleb made some throws, like actually did make some really good throws. A lot of that gets just washed away because I have legitimate concerns about the coaching staff right now. And even Ryan Poles, who somebody I've been down with. And again, if there is going to be some sort of change, and then listen, it's 1 and 2. Even if there is some change at some point, you've got to look at this and say, well, how much of this lays at the feet of Ryan Poles for not doing a better job of addressing the offensive line issues? Now, I'm fine with drafting Rome Odunze. I don't think that was a bad thing. He did use a first round pick on Darnell Wright So it's not like he has not used a first-round pick. And if he felt comfortable with Braxton Jones, then so be it. But a lot of this is a scheme fit that's just not working out. Like it just with the play calling and everything. And I understand the Kari Blasingame was not active because of injuries and everything like that. At the same time, the coaching staff needs to take some accountability. Now I'm excited for Caleb Williams. And I thought, again, what we saw out of him was enough to keep me positive and to keep me invested. And for everybody, and really, I shouldn't have to address this either, is I'm very happy for Justin Fields. I want Justin Fields to do well in Pittsburgh. I'm a fan of Justin Fields. I hope the Steelers win the NFC North. I'm happy with all of that. At the same time, you can't sit here and look at this Bears team and be like, oh, should we have kept Justin Fields? I'm like, I don't know. Should we have kept Andy Dalton? Look at what Andy Dalton did today for the Carolina Panthers. If you want to sit here and make those kind of arguments, your argument for Justin Fields is the same argument you could keep for Andy Dalton. Oh, look at what Andy Dalton did. Oh, Andy Dalton. You won't do that? Like, no, it's all ridiculous. And it comes down to coaching. And it really does. And I think that Caleb Williams has shown more as a passer in 3 games than Justin Fields showed. I just believe that to be the case. Anybody who watches football or sits there and studies it, I think that Caleb Williams has already shown himself, like, as a passer. I think he's already gone beyond Justin Fields. Is he the dynamic athlete who can run for 100 yards, rush for 1,000 yards in a season? Absolutely not. But he should also, like, he's a better passer. And, if I do have one critique of Justin Fields, there was one play of Caleb's, and I think it might have been one of the sacks or one of the bad things, like something was happening. It might have been one of the sacks. It's like, you need to actually, I know you don't want to Justin Fields it every time. And I won't know this until I go back and look at the all 22s, but it's like, God, there were times where it felt like everybody was downfield, that if Caleb would have just tucked it and run, that he would have been able to get some yards. And I really would love to see that part of his game progress over the next couple of weeks. Like, you have to make people respect you as a scrambler, not as a Justin Fields, this is all I'm going to do type of player, but as I can do this if I want to. I'd rather throw it, but I can also do it. Not as much Justin Fields and maybe more like a John Elway type of runner where you're like, and John Elway was kind of more Justin Fields, but like just doing that. So I feel like all that stuff is great and it's positive. The defense was good. And listen, whenever the defense breaks down and Jonathan Taylor goes out there and runs for a touchdown and the defense sort of looks winded, I'm like, I put that on the coaching staff of the offensive coaching staff because it's just not working. And some of the play calling was just completely ridiculous. I don't want to say that the 4th down play, and I was even like, and we were talking to people, we were out there at Rip Beer Company today, and I was telling people, like, if they're going to run it into the pile 4 times with DeAndre Swift, like, all right, fine, let's go at it. Let's see what happens. I would have tried a bootleg at some point, but, that's me. Running the option, like, that was legitimately one of the worst play calls I've ever seen in my life. There was no way that was going to work. Just absolutely no way that was going to work. And to see that sometimes it amazes me that you're an NFL play caller and you think this is a good idea. Or even some of the situational stuff that Matt Eberflus does. Now, there was a play where it appeared the Bears had gotten a first down. The referees marked it short. They didn't challenge. They didn't ask for a spot. They didn't do anything like that. And to me, sometimes, and I like Matt Eberflus as a person, but it feels like Matt Eberflus is like a guy who's gambling at a blackjack table in Las Vegas. He double downs once, loses, and then refuses to do it again. And there's an expression about scared money don't make money. And I don't want him to go full Brandon Staley, but at the same time, you got to continue with these principles of like, if you're a person or you should be a person who hits on 16, doubles, splits aces and eights, double down when the count or when everything's in your favor and everything like that. But unfortunately, that's not what he did. Like, it was really just bad. He's scared because he looked like he did not look good on a primetime game, challenging two balls that were completely wrong. He does that. Calls a time, wastes a timeout to figure out if you need to go for two or not. Like, this kind of stuff, you need to know. Okay? Like, you just need to know. If you're sitting there and you're playing golf and you know that your 80-yard club is your 60-degree wedge or your 58-degree wedge, then go out and hit it. But don't sit there and hem and haw and do all these things. So for me, ultimately, as I look back on this game, inexcusable loss for the Bears. Some positive things from Caleb Williams that I can't quite enjoy yet because I'm still a little bit pissed off. But you know what? We'll be back this week. I will be on CHGO Monday night after dark. NFL Fantasy Live I will be on. I will be on Rogers Sportsnet. We'll have the Tyler Scott Show coming back on. Take It to the Rank with Greg Braggs. A Friday Forget-Me-Not or anything, whatever we call that. But until that time, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to go try to watch some Sunday Night Football, get my rankings ready for football. At some point, I'll start processing the Arsenal game. But in any event, thanks so much for being here. We'll see you later. Bear down. And Sammy, go ahead and play us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. Brought to you by Circa Sports Illinois.